Okay. I wanted to do a follow-up video on my Grateful Dead Scarlet Begonias video. It's crazy, man. Um, I've done a lot of hip hop reactions. I got a whole nother channel that I do that with my bro Boss Man Blake on. But it's crazy the amount of engagement I got from this one video that I did. It was entitled first time listening to the Grateful Dead, Scarlet Begonias, 19, whatever. And the amount of comments that I got and, thoughtful comments. I actually thought, because of YouTube and how YouTube is, that a lot of the comments would be like, you know, negative comments because I don't know the genre like that. I don't know the history. I know Jerry Garcia's in the band, and that's it. And I had to go kind of do my research and seeing some of the was it Bob Weir and some of the other people. I forget, maybe not Bob Weir, but it was anyway. I went to just to look at the names and try to see, to learn, to educate myself. And I was surprised that none of the people in the comment sections actually got on me for being ignorant, in which I am ignorant to the Grateful Dead. But I thought it was interesting about how much people engaged in the comment section, and I did wanted to go over some of the comments that I did get. Um, so we're gonna start right there. I'm gonna just read the comments and basically just respond to it. Um, so Professor Cupcake, and she's been following my channel for years. Very vast, eclectic when it comes to music, eclectic digestion system of music that she has. She says, now you can become a deadhead, quit your job, start traveling all around the country to every show and start taking psychedelics. Now, the only problem you're going to have is they're no longer active, so you'll have to follow their replacement band, Fish, spelled Phish, if they're still at it. And no, when it comes to the psychedelics, I never was a fan. I've dibbled and dabbled in different categories, but never that one. But I can respect it. Boss Blake, that's my bro. We do content together and whatnot. He says the soundtrack of life. Dot 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 dot. Music, exactly. Ding 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 ding. Now we're gonna get to some of these other comments in which there was a lot of information that was given to me through these comments, and I kind of just wanted to go over them. The secret Jewish place, the secret Jewish pace laser. 9 days ago, he said you need to try some live Dead. The Dead mixed every genre there is. I think you will really enjoy this journey. Try China Cat, and they actually left a link of the song that they're talking about, China Cat, and I actually did listen to it, and I think that was the one because I kind of went. A few people left links. I went and listened to this one, the China Cat, and I don't know what it is, but I think for me, sometimes even in this genre, I don't know if it's, as far as, the deadheads and the people out there who are well versed in their catalog and their music, does it, am I wrong to say that some of their music, it feels like jazz to me. Like it's like a complex, easy listening jazz composition that you get with some scattered lyrics here and there. But that's whenever, because um, the secret Jewish pace laser was not the only person. We're gonna get to the other comments people who suggested that I go and listen to the live instead of listening to the recording, in which that makes sense. going back to what my explanation of listening to more of the live is my the way when I digest it, it's almost in a more jazz fashion because of the jam session factor of it and just the free flowing nature of it. It might not be as far as more of the abstract jazz because it still holds the pace. You know, there's still a drummer there. So in which jazz as well, there are drummers. They might be using different toms, different things on their drummer display or whatever you want to call it. But I kind of still get that feeling. Cliff in AZ says, what a lot of your observations are about is concerns the classic art of song composition. And I think they were talking about when I was saying something towards the fact of uh, my favorite part of the song is this, and they keep going back to this, but I wouldn't like this specific part if they did this specific part the whole time. So he says the parts fit together to create something much more interesting than a repetition of one part over and over. Composition, that's what he's talking about. A composition, yes, and that's very true. When you look at all music, and when my genre, yes, it's hip hop, R&B, soul music. Um, it can be very much more repetitive when it comes to the production of this music. So I do think it is refreshing hearing this free flowing style or this free flowing composition of an ongoing. It's almost like a train track, an ongoing train track that's ever changing, and I do think it's beautiful. He says composition. Um, well, I don't know if it's a he or a Cliff. I would think that's a he. Um, the way different parts fit together into sections of a song was a major part of the classics. Songs had structure, and musicians didn't have qualms about letting their full structure of a song unfold over time. When you get into subgenres like progressive rock, some of the compositions were extremely complex, inspired by the complexity of classical music. And I think that's when it comes to me, and I'll just tell you from what I hear from jazz or have heard from jazz, um, I think that's one thing that when it gets too complex, that I still have to be able to jam to it. That's just me personally. This is I'm speaking of personal preference right now. I still have to jam to it. There still has to be some sort of cohesiveness that when it comes to my music that I do like to indulge in. So when you talk about classical music in a nutshell, that's kind of what hinders it from me. But I'm 37 years old. uh, and that part of the music enjoying experience, I have not crossed that threshold into being able to enjoy music that doesn't have some sort of jam to it. Like that's just me though. I'm still young in my growth of my eardrum. So everybody's different. Everybody, it's one of the things. Preference. Next comment. Actually it's Cliff as well. And salute Cliff and AZ for even taking the time to write this. He said, now, no, I'd say the drums and bass are also super important. If your rhythm section, bass and drums, isn't locked in, everything else falls apart. Different approaches to drumming can really make a song sound different, and I do think that's true. He goes on to say the thing about the Dead was how they played in a live setting. Every instrument was literally interacting with every other instrument in that moment, and no song was ever played exactly the same twice. But if you're going to listen to them live, I'd say to start in the '60s or '70s. In my opinion, the '70s were their peak, but the '80s, the vocals didn't sound nearly as good, and they got less consistent. And Garcia's health problems affected the music, in his opinion. Allegedly, that's allegedly. Um, but yeah, salute for the interaction, Cliff and Az. Another person, Mark Starr, crashes, and I already knew he was a deadhead by the logo he's got here. He says, when listening to the Grateful Dead, always go to the live versions. Hold on, let me pause this real quick and pull up these comments. Okay, okay. Back at it, back at it. That's the beauty of technology. Okay, he says Mark Star crashes. Always go to the live versions. Look to the years 1972 between 1972 and 1974, 1977 between 1988 and 1989 to 1990. Everything in those years are great. Okay, salute. Mark Star crashes. Hart Lord Taylor says, good commentary. One thing you notice about this song, in which they're talking about Scarlet Begonias, is that it sounds like several genres are being played at the same time. The Dead and Jerry Garcia in particular were steeped in traditional American styles going back over 100 years, and you can hear all of that inside a classic psychedelic rock song. Famous for their concerts. And I definitely can see that. Um, Nobody actually mentioned the jazz aspect that whenever I really started listening to other things in the comment section, but people definitely keep mentioning the far as traditional American sounds and other genres being implemented in the Grateful Dead sound. Um, Go to another person with a Grateful Dead logo in their avatar called Cryptical Envelopment. He says, "Okay, you need to listen to," and that's the beauty of this is because people are like they're watching this and they're not judging me for being ignorant. So I really do appreciate that. It says you need to listen to this in context to get more full idea what the music is/was all about and why people like them. Absolutely positively had to be there at the show every night. Here's a different song. It's called Shakedown Street. Drop the link. Salute for that. I definitely did listen to that. And here is what Scarlet Begonias was all about. Gave me a link. And I definitely went to that. And I definitely seen the difference in that. Um, Listen to the whole thing as it goes into the tune Fire of the Mountain. Enjoy. And yes, it definitely was a different experience, just to say the least. It definitely was a different experience. Okay, okay. So this is the one, the first link that he dropped, Critical Envelopment. Shakedown Street, that's what this was. And back to the genres, when just from how it started off, the driving the wah guitar. That's what I call it. I don't know what the technical term is, but when it come down to the guitar that you hear to start it off, wah, 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 wah. Like that's to me, when I heard this, from my perspective, when I heard this, I thought about James Brown. Cause that I guess for me, that was, you know, what I first came into that. I feel like James Brown was great. But when I hear that, wah, 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 yes, it's a jam session coming. It's got to be a jam session coming. And salute for dropping this in here because, I've been listening to different things. And when I heard that, it definitely piqued my interest, So let's just listen to a little bit of it. Oh, yeah. and when I relate these things back to, like for instance, me saying this reminds me of this. That's not me saying that this person stole it from this person or this, but like there's segments of this where I can hear the original Shaft. Like y'all know the movie Shaft, the Shaft the movie, like that theme music, boom, doom, 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 doom. Like it's different thing. I hear it, and what I liked about that is what I like about this. I just wanted to say that. Because I've almost heard disco, I've almost heard blues, I've heard funk, I've heard jazz. Like it's a smorgasbord of different types of things when it comes to my ear when I listen to this music. And I know someone. Hey, let me stop. I'm gonna get back into the comments, even though I know somebody. I think we're about to get to the comment now. Talking about people stopping the music and you got to let it play to understand the full context of it. And I do agree with that. I got a show to run, so can't just let it play too much. But Star Dark Ashes says, totally new to your channel. Salute, welcome. And he says, and I haven't even let you cue the song. And there's some channels that stop the music, and then there are some that let it play. And then they comment, Grateful Dead is the type of music where you just have to let it play because it's all about the flow of the thing and where it carries you in the moment. And if you stop midway, you're not really gonna get the gist of what the song is trying to say. Just my opinion, but the channels that stop the music a lot, even if it's not Grateful Dead, I rarely go back because kind of a buzzkill every time. This comment is one of them things. It's a personal preference thing. I kind of base my commentary, as you see on the screen. It's called Flow Decoded, and that's just kind of what I do. Far as my content is more talk driven, but to each his own. But yeah, just saying. But I'll see how you do because there are some channels that stop it literally every 2 minutes, or they stop it during the guitar solo, and they stop it right before it's about to. And see, that's one of the things. That's just a personal preference type thing. Uh, that's one of them things. Mark Richer, 17 minutes ago. I haven't even seen his comment yet, but he says 12,000 plus hours of music, 2,318 concerts, 418 different songs, 30 years, 12 members, one band equals the Grateful Dead. God, I think I might have to pin that one. Yeah, I might have to pin that one. That was a lot of information right there. I'm gonna take it at face value just because y'all know how ignorant I am. 'Cause I do that type of shit. But now, yeah, man. What other band would y'all like to see me listen to for the first time? Or what other song? Let me say, because I've heard a Grateful Dead song before, but I never heard the specific one that I did. I've heard actually, I would say probably out of, and I know they might not be just in the same category, but I have heard Pink Floyd songs. When I, going through my weed head stage, and I was in different school districts that, there was guys in there, and the whole skate culture where I did hear Doors, I did hear Pink Floyd, but I didn't know the name of the songs. But I've heard those other two groups. Besides those three groups, being Grateful Dead, The Doors, Pink Floyd, or even some of them, but I'm really trying to listen to things that I haven't heard before. If there's any of you who uh run across this video, who should I listen to for the first time? Or what song should I listen to for the first time? I'm gonna give my honest reaction to it, and I'm gonna break it down from my perspective. I told you what my perspective is. My perspective is hip hop, soul, R&B, blues to an extent. Um, so yeah, man. I just wanted to come up here and respond back to those who actually took time to write long comments and give information and exhortation about the group that I am very ignorant to. So I definitely just wanted to show appreciation for that. And depending on what these comments like this here, that this video was someone who dropped a link in there, man. Drop a link for me. Let me know, and I definitely will highly consider doing a reaction to it. But yeah, it's YJ. I'm out. I've been up here talking for 21 minutes on it. Hey man, say man, I'm up out of here, man. Salute.